Okay, we are going to begin lying down on our back with our knees bent in constructive rest pose. So again, if you're joining in on a recording, if you have a yoga strap or belt or towel, it'd be nice to use it for this class. This is not a yoga strap, it'll work, but it's not a yoga strap. In fact, what this is does work, and some of you might be familiar with it. This is straps that come on a yoga mat. Sometimes when you buy it, it's a little handle for the mat. The holes go around the rolled up mat, and then you've got a carrying handle. This also doubles as a yoga strap for what we're doing today. So if you have something like that, keep that in mind, that would work. Otherwise, an actual yoga strap or belt or towel. But again, if you don't have something like that, no biggie. So with knees bent, lying flat on our back, get yourself comfortable. If it's not comfortable to be like this, you can always put a pillow under your head or shoulders or under your low back or anything else that allows you to be comfortable. We're just gonna rest here, eyes closed, if that's okay for you. And we're gonna come in touch with our breath. I had gotten a couple people gave me some feedback from Tuesday's class that they really enjoyed doing that body scan while we were standing up doing the body scan. So let's go ahead and do a real small version of that while we're laying down here. And if the body scan isn't something that resonates for you or isn't something you enjoy, just kind of tune me out for the next minute or two. Let's begin by bringing our attention to our breath. That's kind of where we always start in yoga, is bringing the attention to the breath. It gets us present very quickly, allows us into our little yoga bubble for the moment. As we're lying down, we can notice the rise and fall of our chest or belly. You might notice if you're feeling any tension that's hollering at you, or any other feelings, sensations that are hollering at you, trying to get your attention. And adjust that if that's the case. I don't know if you guys can hear my dogs growling in the background. It's what they're growling out is the dolphins singing on the music. Sorry if you can hear that. Anyways, notice the temperature of your breath as it moves in through your nose or your mouth. Notice if it's warm or cool. You might notice too if your breathing is balanced. If you're breathing through your nose, is it coming in equally through both nostrils? Is it going out equally through both nostrils? And then notice if there's any sensations that you feel in your body when you breathe in. If you feel any sensations other than the direct breath. So if I really pay attention, I can feel a sort of sensation in my arms when I breathe in. Notice if you can feel anything other than the direct breath. Maybe you feel a sort of calming sensation when you breathe out, or letting go when you breathe out. or you perhaps feel the contraction or the little bit of tension as you breathe out or in. And as we go just quickly through the body scan, we're going to start from the bottom of the feet. Notice the fact that your feet are touching your yoga mat or the ground in whatever way they're touching. Just notice, maybe there's a sensation there. Maybe there's a temperature change from the foot to the surface. Maybe there's a description that comes to mind of what that surface feels like that your feet are touching, or what your feet feels like. Maybe you notice an itch or a stretch or something else. Bring that attention likewise to the top of your feet and to your toes, maybe even wiggling your toes a little bit to send your attention there. Going quickly to the body scan, move to your ankles and lower legs, knees and upper legs. Kind of that lower body as a whole picture. Notice the way your clothing feels against your legs. Perhaps notice the bend in your knees or the area where the thigh touches the calves in the bent knees. Notice if your legs feel free and easy, or if they feel tight, or any other sensation or even emotion that comes up. Just notice it there. We'll bring our attention into the pelvis and groin area and the low belly and low back. Spending a little bit of extra time there because we do store so much tension, so much emotion, even freedom there. So notice the balance or lack thereof. Notice a relaxed feeling or a tension. Notice movement. Notice emotion if you're keenly in tune. Maybe you notice your waistband and the way that that feels. You might notice the pressure on your tailbone against the floor. Trying to acknowledge that these things are there without trying to change them or without judging or scrutinizing or criticizing or otherwise critiquing, just being aware. Feel free to adjust with movements if you'd like. Moving on up the spine into the middle of your back and shoulders, as well as the front, your rib cage, your upper abdomen. Taking just a moment there as sensations come to mind. As we go ahead and send your attention up into the chest and shoulder area. This is another area where we tend to store emotion, tension, tightness. Our body keeps the score. It can really tell us what kind of day we're having when we tune in. And the chest and shoulders is one area that doesn't hide it very well. So just allowing anything that comes up for you to just be. When you're ready to move on from there, bring it down your arms, the biceps, the triceps, the lower arms, the elbows, inner elbows, and then hands and fingers. Notice the position of your hands. If the palms are open wide, if the palms are relaxed open, if you're making a fist, or if your palms are naturally closing, just notice the natural tendency of your hands. And before we go on up to the neck and head, we're going to change our body position into a reclined tree. So we're going to extend the left leg straight out onto the ground, and we're going to open the right knee wide. If you have a pillow or bolster nearby, fluffing that under your right thigh might be very nice. A block could do the same job there if you have a block nearby. And let's go ahead and bring our mind's eye into the neck. Perhaps you'll notice here that your neck would rather have some support in this supine position. You can always roll up a towel or even a foam roller or a pillow under your head if you find that you do need support. Notice what your throat feels like. If it feels relaxed, if it feels loose, or maybe you have a hard time connecting with your body and identifying, and that's okay. Bring your attention into your ears. Notice what your ears feel like, if there's coolness or warmth, if your ears can feel any hair that it's touching. Sometimes we can even find tension or stress or feeling of calm or relaxation at our ears. Allow that awareness to move to the mouth, the lips, teeth, tongue. Notice if your jaw is feeling soft or tense, if you're clenching your teeth. And bring awareness into the nose, and then the eyes and brows. Before you conclude with the face, we're going to change direction on our legs. So we're going to extend our right leg straight out, and then our left knee is going to bend and open. And come back to the face and the head. Notice what the back of your head feels like laying against the ground. If it's warm, if it's cool where the head touches the ground. You feel your hair is touching your face or anywhere else. Let's bring our mind's eye to our body as a whole and see if we can notice the support that we're receiving from the surface that we're lying on. If you want to go deeper, you might even say the support that we're receiving from the earth or from the yoga mat, from your home, whatever serves you to kind of allow in that picture. Maybe you find a sense of gratitude for that support. Or maybe a feeling comes up that you don't feel very supported. That's okay. Allow the feelings that feel good and not so good to just be there, to be okay with. And then let's bring our arms to stretch up overhead and extend that left leg out so it's no longer bent. Stretch through the whole body, perhaps yawn if that comes to you. And then we'll bend our knees up towards our chest, bringing our arms to wrap around the legs. Maybe some little movement into your hips. From here, we're going to place the right foot back down, knee bent. Left leg is going to come up into the air, wrapping your hands around the thigh. This is where you might want a yoga strap if you have one available. And we would just wrap it around the foot to extend the leg supported. As your hamstrings or the back of your legs begin to open up by being extended, you can bring your hand higher down the leg, or I should say lower down the leg toward the ankle, or maybe even wrapping your hand around the foot, depending on your flexibility this morning. Take a few deep breaths. Notice where you feel this stretch the most. And see if you can guide your inhale breath directly to that spot. So for me, I feel a big stretch in my ligaments behind my knees right now, and that's not a pleasant thing. Ligaments really don't stretch. So that tells me I'm gonna need to bend my knee right now. And then that moves the stretch into the hamstring. Well, I would breathe right into that stretch in the hamstring where I feel it the most. Sending my inhale right there. And as I exhale, it allows me to bring my leg a little bit closer into my body, deepening the stretch. Let's take 2 more breaths with this leg. If you're using a strap, go ahead and remove it. If you're not, release your leg down to the ground. So left knee is bent, and we'll go on to the right leg. Hopefully enjoying that stretch. Again, breathing right into it with the inhale. Maybe this is in the back of the thigh. Maybe it's in the calf or foot. Maybe you're feeling it up in your hip or buttocks. Breathe right into it, into the tension, the tightness, the stretch, and then breathe away from the tightness, the tension, the stretch. Very gentle breaths to facilitate the stretch. We'll look good there. We'll go ahead and release that leg down. And then bring both knees to the chest. Again, giving yourself a little hug. Maybe rocking side to side if that feels right for you. From here, we're going to stretch our shoulders by just rolling over, coming to our hands and knees. And we're going to go into the eye of the needle. So from hands and knees, we're going to bring our right hand underneath our left arm, walking the right hand out to the left, lowering the shoulder and head down to the ground. The left hand supporting in whatever way feels best. For some of us who are particularly tight this morning, you might do well to bring a pillow or bolster underneath your head or shoulders. A block can facilitate in the same way. And that would just allow you to get fully into the posture without going too deep into the posture. Likewise, if this feels like a really nice shoulder stretch and you'd love to be able to go deeper, you can roll your body slightly to the right, and that'll stretch the shoulder deeper. For those who want to add a balance element, see if you can bring your left leg into the air behind you. To do that, you'd want to engage your core so to help keep you balanced and stable. So drawing your navel in and up towards your ribs. Now you don't have to do that. If that balance isn't what you need, keep that knee down. Let's take about 2 more breaths here. Go ahead and lower the knee down if you haven't already. And then we're going to push through our left hand to bring ourselves up back to hands and knees position. We'll go right to the other side. So this time the left hand is going to come underneath the right arm, slowly lowering down until you find a stretch in your shoulder that feels nice. So again, if this is going too deep, grab yourself a pillow or a rolled up blanket or use your block. Or if you wish it was going deeper, this time we would roll a little bit to the left and go deeper into the shoulder stretch. Now, if you would like to challenge your balance here, same thing on the other side, we'd engage the core and lift the right leg up into the sky. Gentle breaths, and you might guide your breath into your stretch here, into that shoulder stretch. Good, everybody's looking good here. And 2 more breaths. When you're ready, gently press through your right arm to come up, bringing your left hand back to hands and knees position. We're going to go into a little twist that might be a difficult transition for some of us. So we'll give it a try. If it doesn't work for you, then you're just gonna come on down to your bottom into a seated position. But from here, we're going to, from our knees, we're going to lower our bottom down onto our heels. And again, if that's too much, too deep in your knees or not okay for your ankles or feet or any place else, just come on down to your bottom. For those of us that this worked okay for, we're going to see if we can bring our left foot forward. So the left knee is bent upward. The left foot is on the ground. Show you a front view of that. Okay. For those of you that this is not something that is achievable for you this morning, then just from your bottom, see if you can, with a bent right knee, bring your left foot forward. If that's confusing any of you, go ahead and unmute yourself and I'll give another description, or even just wave your hand and I'll kind of explain deeper. Otherwise, so wherever you're at, see if you can bring your right hand to wrap around your left leg, and then left hand behind you. Sit yourself up nice and tall and head for a little twist through center. So again, right hand, left leg, left hand behind you, twist through center. Perhaps you want to go even deeper and the right arm can come to the outside of the left leg. That feels very yoga-like, doesn't it? Twist it up like a little pretzel. One more breath here. Go ahead and release. And we'll go to the other side. So if you're in the full expression, how I explained it at first, you're gonna just come forward, back to hands and knees, relax back down, and then bring your right foot forward. If you're down on your bottom, you're just gonna switch legs, bringing the right foot forward. Okay, and in this case, the left hand is going to be wrapped around the right leg. Okay. We're gonna bring ourselves tall. The right hand is gonna come behind us. We're gonna just gently ease into a twist there. Take a few meaningful breaths there. Easing into the posture. How we doing, Sally? Hold on.
I can't see what you're doing. I'm in the sunshine and I can't see what you're up to, so I moved.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're just in a twist, but we're just about to come out of the twist. All right, guys, go ahead and release out of the twist. Good. And from here, we're going to come onto our bellies. This is going to bring balance back in after the twist on each side. So let's come to our bellies. And we're going to come into just a Sphinx pose. So for Sphinx pose, we want our elbows to be underneath our shoulders, our legs to be flat with our toes pointed, and press the lower body into the ground. So you've got this kind of pelvis pressing into the ground, the thighs and the top of the feet pressing into the ground. The palms of the hands are also going to press into the ground. Tuck your elbows in a little bit so that they really are underneath your shoulders. If you can, if that doesn't work for you, obviously the elbows need to be wider and that's fine. So we're pressing the body into the ground. And then with an inhale, we lift the chest a little bit and look forward. See if you can open the chest, drawing the shoulders back. The shoulder blades floating down toward the waist rather than squeezing in. So again, shoulder blades coming down your back rather than squeezing in if you can. So imagine your chest opening, shoulders relaxing down and open. If you feel any compression in your spine in this posture, lower it down a little bit. Maybe look down would help. One more breath. These subtle back bends are really important for the health of our spine, particularly if we have things going on like sciatica. Back bends seem counterintuitive, but they're actually very helpful to help bring flexibility and movement into the spinal muscles. Let's go ahead and release down for just a moment to push into a child's pose. So lifting up and then bottom comes back toward the heels or onto a pillow or block or something else, whereas the head comes down toward the ground. You can keep your arms outstretched overhead, or you can bend the arms or bring them back, whatever's comfortable for you in a child's pose. You can bring your knees wide or keep your knees together. Again, work out your child's pose to learn what feels best and what's comfortable for you. Two more breaths here in our child's pose. And come on back to hands and knees. From here, moving to a cat pose, rounding the spine, dropping the chin. And in that cat pose, with your rounded spine, we're going to lean back and then forward. And back and forward. So we're not moving through to our cat, or I'm sorry, our cow. We're just staying in our cat with the rounded spine, moving back, moving forward. And back and forward. And one more time, back and forward. Come back to center. All right, guys, you're gonna just love me. We're gonna do our plank, and then we're gonna try a side plank. So our plank pose, we've done this once or twice before in this class. We wanna ensure that our wrists are directly underneath our shoulders. Our inner elbows are facing the opposite top corner of the mat, and that our knees are hip width apart. To come into a full plank, You'll extend one leg at a time off of the ground. You want to keep your body in more or less a straight line. So you don't want your hips popped up like you're headed to a downward facing dog, but you also don't want them sagging like you're headed to a cobra. So that takes strength. If that strength is not available to you today, bring your knees down to the ground. If we keep our knees on the ground, we want to try to sink our hips a little bit so that we can still try to come into that plank position. And that really activates the core so strong. I'm going to have you play around with that a little bit, come in and out of it, or maybe you want to go for a long hold because you've been practicing your planks. And I'm going to come get a quick little view of you guys, see how we're doing in our plank pose. Let's see, again, if you have any questions, try to keep your chest open as best you can so that your shoulders are not squeezing in toward each other. Good. Remember to breathe. And again, take breaks. Come in and out of it. Good. Good. Mom, you're looking good there. And Miss Susan, I'm not gonna critique you right now, but I'm just gonna say we need to do this more often. Let's see. Good. Okay, you guys, go ahead and come back to your knees if you're not already there. And then if you can, bring your bottom down to your heels. If you can't, just come on down to your bottom. We're gonna stretch the wrists because we're not quite done with our plank. So we're gonna stretch the wrist. All right, we're now gonna go into a side plank. While I'm setting up for side plank, does anybody have any questions or comments about their plank? Is anybody like, why is my plank doing this or that? No? Okay. So in a side plank is very similar to a plank, only it's one arm, one leg. So I'll show you really quick if you can see your screen. Plank, side plank. But we're going to take modifications to start with for our side plank. So from hands and knees, we bring our alignment into position, wrists directly underneath the shoulders. We're going to keep the right knee down and we're going to extend the left leg back with the toes curled under. From there, we're going to open the left hip, keeping the right knee down, open the left hip. The left toes are now pointed to support the body. And then we bring the left arm up toward the sky. And this is our side plank. Press the right hand away from the ground so that your wrist isn't bearing all the weight, but rather distributed throughout the arm. We'll take one more breath here. That's a nice stretch in the side body. Go ahead and bring the left arm down and the left knee back in. We'll go to the other side by extending our right arm back, opening the right hip, and then right arm reaches up. Notice what this feels like in your left arm, pressing the left hand away from the ground, or you might say push, you might feel more like pressing the hand into the ground. What we want to do is get the weight off of the wrist. So activating the arm and pressing away from the ground. Big stretch there through the right side of the body. You can play around with this too. You can try raising that right leg up. That adds some strength into the glutes or the buttocks. You can try stretching the right arm overhead. This adds length into the side of the body. And then let's go ahead and bring it back down. Right hand comes down, right knee comes back in. Now that you've done that modified plank, we're going to try to go into the full side plank. with that said, if that modified plank was plenty for you, then come back to that and do that one again. So, but if you would like to try the full side plank, then follow along here. Actually, let me go through the modified plank one more time. And then if you want to go for the full one, I'll go through that too. So wrists aligned directly underneath the shoulders, keeping the right knee on the ground, left leg back, left hip opens, left arm up in the sky. If you want to go for the full side plank, we're going to bring the right leg back and then the left leg back. And then we're going to twist so that we're on our outer right leg. Left leg is going to stack on top of it, or you can keep the left leg forward to help keep strength. And then left arm comes off of the ground for your side plank. Let's see how we're doing. Remember to breathe, whatever position you've chosen. Good. Annette, I see you're doing it. Mom, I see you're doing it. Good. Remember to breathe. One more breath. Good. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and bring it back down and go on ahead to the other side. Engage your core as best as you can. That really helps to strengthen and support this posture, getting some of the weight off of the wrist, because I know this can be pretty uncomfortable in the wrists. Press away from the ground with that left hand. Again, remember to breathe. Good, and go ahead and come on down whenever you want to. Take a break from your wrist. Go ahead and sit down. You guys, I'm going to take a moment to say goodbye to the people that are watching this on the recording, and then I'm gonna stop recording and come back so we can talk about this a little bit. Okay, so if you are joining us on the recording, go ahead and get yourself into Shavasana, our final relaxation, lying down on your back, any stretches that your body's calling for, and relax for just as long as you can, trying to find stillness in your mind, and then closing whenever you'd like to. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. And